Hi guys, welcome back to the Astrology. Today we are going to be talking about the September month reading, and this is going to be a very interesting month. Difficult month as well, because we are going to be facing two eclipses, which is the lunar eclipse coming on around 7th of September, and then around 21st, 22nd of September we will find the solar eclipse coming as well. Now the lunar eclipse will be falling when moon comes in conjunction with Rahu in the sign of Aquarius, while the solar eclipse will come in place when moon will be conjunct with sun in the sign of Virgo around 21st of September. And both of these eclipses will be extremely crucial because they are going to be defining the way we are going to be approaching things. The lunar eclipse is going to be eclipsing our thought process, our decision making, our belief system, because Rahu is going to cast that shadow in your decision making as well. And depending on where this eclipse is happening in your chart, you will be affected accordingly. Whilst solar eclipse is going to be happening again with the conjunction of moon with sun, when moon is going to essentially eclipse over the sun, he is going to be falling right between the earth and the sun. But again, you will have to understand that this is going to be a partial solar eclipse, which is going to be happening in different parts of the world. Depending on what part of the world you are going to be watching this video from, you will have a respective impact as well as based on your zodiac signs. So, without further ado, what we are going to do now, we are going to look into some of the important dates that are going to be coming into picture in terms of transit and understand what's going to be meaning it for us. Now, guys, as you can see on your screen here, that Sun is currently in the sign of Leo until 15th of September. And then for the second half of the month, it is going to be transiting into the sign of Virgo. Now, Sun has been in its own Leo sign, but imagine it has been in difficult situation with its conjunction, with its collaboration with Ketu in the same house so far. Then Mercury is in Leo until 14th of September, and almost a day ahead it will advance into its sign of exaltation in the sign of Virgo from 15th of September onwards. So predominantly both Sun and Mercury are going to be remaining in the first half of the month in your Leo sign, and then they will together transit a day in difference into the sign of Virgo. Venus is in the sign of Cancer until September 14th, and it is going to come into the sign of Leo, where it will become conjunct with Ketu from September 14th onwards. Now, that is going to be very crucial, and we are going to analyze as to what sort of an impact we can anticipate there. Mars is in the sign of Virgo. It is there until September 12th, and from 13th onwards, it is going to be moving into the sign of Libra. Jupiter continues its presence in the sign of Gemini itself in Chatra. So that is a good bit that is happening there. And it is going to be in the sign of Gemini for the month of September. Remember, October is the time when it is going to be moving into its sign of exaltation. Saturn is continuing in its motion of retrogression, and it is in Pisces in Uttara Nakshatra. And the most important thing, guys, you have to understand here is that Saturn will be coming into deepest retrogression because it will be bang opposite to Sun as well from the second half of the month. So it will be getting into its deepest retrogression during the month of September, and that is where its impact becomes extremely crucial for all of us. Lots of things happening. Saturn getting into deep retrogression, two eclipses as I was addressing before, and then Rahu is in Purva Chatra of Jupiter itself in the sign of Aquarius, while it is coming out, in degrees. So it is coming out of its Bal Avastha. It is going to get a lot more strength in its itself. But the lunar eclipse is where it is going to cast its magic, and you have to be very sharp, shrewd in terms of understanding what sort of a impact it will have for you. And then Ketu, of course, is sitting in Pur Falguni nakshatra itself of Leo of Venus, which is where he will be becoming conjunct with Venus. So, guys, without further ado, we will now deep dive into your monthly reading and understand that what these transits are going to be impacting and how they are going to be impacting you for the course of the month. So, Leos, as you guys can see on your screen here, you have multiple planets that are present in your 12th, first, and your second house through the course of this month. And then the eclipse that is going to be happening, lunar eclipse is going to be happening in your seventh house. Again, a very crucial one for you guys, Leos. Whilst the solar eclipse will happen on your second house on 21st of September, while lunar eclipse is on 7th of September. So let's get started and understand with through the course of this month what's happening here. Now, in the first half of the month, the first thing that is coming into impact is that you will have Sun, Mercury, and Ketu, three planetary conjunction come in your first house itself. Ketu has been in this position for a while, and Sun is your Lagna Lord who's coming into the Lagna in conjunction with Mercury, which happens to be your 11th Lord and your second Lord. So you see, it's a very good Dhan Yoga coming into picture. But at the same time, you guys, if you are watching this from a Leo moon sign standpoint, you are going to Ashtam Shani, which is the Shani Dhaya as well, which will be impacting you. Now, what you have to remember is, guys, that with the presence of Sun in the first house, whilst there will be a lot of confidence, self belief, actions that you guys would be taking in, but given that this is going to be in conjunction with Ketu, there is going to be a lot of shadow towards that confidence, towards that hard work, towards the efforts that you're going to be coming in, and the kind of credit, the kind of reward, the outcomes that you anticipate might be overshadowed. Now, this is the likelihood in terms of the difficulties that you can anticipate. Again, Mercury being the 11th Lord coming into Lagna, you will be driven and motivated to find your gains, to fulfill your wishes, to chase your desires. But how much of those desires are going to translate into outcomes is something that you would have to wait and watch. Why do I say that? Because Ketu is acting in terms of elimination of those desires. It doesn't want you to be associated with it. So it's going to be a push and a pull that you will face. To make matters difficult, folks, September is a difficult month for all of us. Now, why do I say that? Because there are two eclipses that we are going through. Lunar eclipse, which is happening in your case in the same 1/7 axis. Who's responsible for this lunar eclipse? Rahu, which is getting in conjunction with Moon, who is your 12th lord. So understand, your 12th lord is coming into your 7th house, 8 places away from itself, and forming that eclipse in the house of partnerships, marriage, relationships, business connections. And when that is happening, at one side of the spectrum, Ketu is trying to pull you away from all illusions, not get connected with materialistic things. Rahu is going to give you hyper illusion, magnification of that cynicism, that mysticism, that magical ambition that you want to achieve everything with respect to the seventh house affairs or the aspects where it is drawing, but it will cloud your judgment, it will cloud your mind. Why? Because he's casting an eclipse on your mood, on your mind, on your emotions. And it is also the lord of your expense. So this could be a situation where you could make some of the biggest blunders when it comes to your expenses. Please be very watchful whilst navigating these kind of situations. Why do I say that? Because this is happening around 7th of September, couple of days before and after. At least 5th to 10th of September is where you should be very, very careful with respect to what sort of spending you are doing, what sort of a, 12th house also denotes bed pleasures. It denotes your sleep. And understand that this eclipse is happening in the 7th. Any mistake, any unethical activity committed during this time will cost you big time. Do not jump the gun in terms of making any new starts, any new initiatives just yet. A lot of people will tell you this is the time of new initiative. New moon will come into picture, and then you will be having new beginnings and new start. Guys, when we hit rock bottom, there's only way up. Okay. And what I'm trying to predict and recommend here is let's avoid that rock bottom. It is very important. I get surprised that how predictions are being made, and for the sake of views and making everything seem positive. That's not the case, guys. It's a challenging month. I see so many of you already dropping your comments, sending me messages directly as well. Leos, it is going to be tough. So I cannot sugarcoat it. Many a times when I give bad news, then people tend to skip the videos and run away and don't want to watch it. But as ostrich algorithm is not going to help you out here. Digging your head into the sand and thinking that the problem doesn't exist is not going to help. Face it cleverly. Understand how you can overcome that obstacle. And the strategy is matters related to your relationship, matters related to your partnership, to your spouse, their mental health, their emotional health will be in turbulence. It will require you to navigate that very cleverly without any disruptions. And that is why I have been recommending everyone that guys, do not get into new situations, do not get into new decision makings. If things have been in a flow in a certain fashion, then please do not disrupt that flow at this point in time. That is very important for you guys to remember. Now, and whilst all this is in the seventh, remember the axis is 1 and 7. So there will be an impact towards your emotions, your health, your mind, your physicality as well. So please be cognizant of that bit too. Now, in the same first half of the month, while your 1 and 7 axis are deeply impacted with so many planetary positions, what you will find is that in your second house you have Mars, which is the lord of your fourth house and your ninth house. So it's an important Yog Karaka planet in your case, Leos. And Mars being placed in the second is forming a decent Dhana Yoga, but it also is going to create situations of turbulence within the family, action orientedness in the family, some kind of temper issues, fights, quarrels, disagreements coming into the family. And why am I saying that? Because so much is happening in that 1 and 7 that it is going to definitely impact you, your spouse, your partner, and your family overall. And there could be disruption with respect to that. Yes, Mars is your fourth lord. He's gone 11 places away. So he's promising a certain degree of gains as well. I'm not at all recommending it. It is not supposed to be all negative from a thought process perspective. But understand here that that heightened energy does create a certain degree of confusion, especially when Ketu and Rahu are deeply impacting you. Remember, Rahu has moved in terms of degrees. His illusion net is going to be wider now all on you specifically because it is in that position for you folks. Leos, Aquarius, Taurus, and Scorpios, they are going to face the major heat from that perspective. Now, Mars sitting from here in the second house is giving an aspect to your fifth house. It is giving an aspect to your eighth house and your ninth house. Avoid any kind of confrontations with your bosses, superiors, clients, with your leadership, with your teacher, mentor, gurus, etc. It is going to make you dig deep into internal matters. It could also create third party situations for some of you in your marriage. So please be watchful of that bit as well. It could make you extremely hyperactive in terms of chasing new relationships, chasing or being much more possessive in your existing relationship as well, which could be the reason of the tussle. At the same time, the good bit is that you have the aspect of Jupiter also falling in. So some degree of sanity along with that aspect of Ketu into the fifth house. So you see, it's a mixed bag of things. It's a very turbulent combination which is coming into play for September. So lot of action happening into the fifth. Avoid any kind of unnecessary risks in terms of investments. Avoid harsh situations with your kids if you're a student. Avoid being too possessive in your relationships, be it in your marriage or with your boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever that situation is. Any kind of new risk taking activities at this point in time should be delayed, folks. I will not recommend the month of eclipse to be the one where you are embarking upon something major. Of course, if your dasha, antardasha, natal chart is going through a blossoming period and things are rosy for you, go ahead. But seems like the world overall, there are a handful of people who are having a rosy period, but most of the people that I see around are facing challenges, and it is because of what is happening at the mundane level. Now, in the first half of the month itself, you will also find that Venus, which is the lord of your 10th house, as well as your third house, is placed in your 12th in the sign of Cancer. Your 12th lord is already going through lunar eclipse in the same first week itself. So, in the first 2 weeks, when Venus is placed there, Venus doesn't get the blame of being in the 12th house. It is not a bad position for Venus to be in, but it will require you to put additional efforts in your work front. It will require you to travel. There will be a lot of hard work that will go into things which is not delivering the outcomes as you would desire. So that is going to be a bit painful there as well. And you might feel that why the hell am I putting in so much effort? Some of you might have to put in work into areas which are not your responsibility, which are not under your direct purview, but it is because you are working with your bosses, or the market situations are such that you will have to put that effort. People who are looking for any kind of a job switch and stuff, I don't see that this is the best period for you to make those kind of pivots. It is not a good idea to randomly, take a decision unless and until things have been in the direction as you've been planning for the last few weeks. If the interviews, discussions, collaborations have been going on, if any kind of projects that you've been working for a longer period, they've been going on, suddenly you want to make a shift to that, I would avoid making those kind of decisions, thanks to the placement of Venus in the sign of Cancer. Now, before we move into the second half of the month, it is important for us to realize what is happening with Saturn. Saturn is going to get into its deepest retrogression from the second half of September onwards, all the way into October, guys, because the Sun is going to be coming into your second house in the sign of Virgo, which is where the solar eclipse will come into play on 21st of September. Now, Saturn happens to be your sixth lord and seventh lord, and in retrograde motion in the eighth. First of all, it is not an easy position to be in. To make matters worse, when a planet is retrograded, it has the highest degree of Cheshta Bal. And Cheshta Bal means the intent to try hard, push forward increases. It is in the eighth house. For Leo moon sign perspective is not a great sign there as well, because it is going to bring in complications with respect to your business, with respect to your collaboration, with respect to your marital situation as well. So things are going to see turbulence for sure. And that is why I keep on repeating that if things are okay, do not jolt them by doing anything new or different in the month of September. If things are already difficult, it may be the best idea for you to navigate them with the utmost calm mind without losing your cool, thanks to the placement of the planets that I was calling out in your 12th, first, and second house. Now, from here, Saturn will be giving a retrograded aspect towards your 10th. Complications with respect to your job, work, career, etc. is bound to happen. Even if you're a student watching this video, there will be difficulties that you will face with respect to your competitive examinations, selection, going into any kind of new courses, etc. The learning that you might be doing might not be sticking around. You might be finding confusion as to what you need to pick and what you need to change. Yes, there is a Vipreet Rajoga coming into play, but it's not that Vipreet Rajoga is going to change everything around for you, because the impact of this Saturn is not easy. To make matters further worse, Saturn is giving a retrograded aspect into your second house in the sign of Virgo, where the eclipse will be happening, which is where I would say that there could be situations for some of you for separations, litigations, loans, related problems coming on top of your family. Please do not go into any kind of new loans, excessive expenditures. Hold it out. When I'm giving a tough reading, Dev Astrology usually does a very positive mindset oriented reading. If I'm giving you a tough reading here, my humble request to you is, please be calm. Do not be in a hurry, in a jitter to accomplish things, no matter what. I mean, there could always be situations that you can negotiate with a calm mind. So if there are complications coming in with your family members, if they are argumentative situations, they avoid escalating those situations, taking the matters to court, getting into litigations. No, because what you will realize is that it is going to be much more harmful. It is going to impact your health as well, and it is going to result into losses for you financially too. Okay, so that might not be the best thing. The other bit is that there could be certain situations for some of you where you have to separate from your family for some time. Now, that could be work related, that could be travel that has come, that could be business related, because you have to do certain shifts in your life, or maybe your family members have to move around. So please be as supportive as possible if it is necessary. If necessary is if necessity is not driving that shift, I will recommend, again, it is a new action. Had it been planned and everything, it's okay. But if it is not planned, something that is getting propped up in the course of September month itself, guys, try and see if you can push those situations away from you, because it's not going to be easy. Again, this Saturn is giving that retrograded aspect to your fifth house as well. I already talked about the aspects of Mars coming in there. This aspect, it tells us that not a great time to plan for progeny, baby planning and stuff. Not a good period from that perspective. Avoid that. Success is not bound there. There will be difficulties for people who are in relationships, girlfriend boyfriend situation, confusion, lack of trust, third party situations, cheating kind of scenarios also popping up. uh, to make matters worse, if you are a married person, lunar eclipse plus that aspect, it's going to make things only difficult. Please avoid any kind of unethical situations on that front. This is also not a great time for you to find newfound investment strategies and stuff. Any kind of speculative activities are going to backfire big time. Investment into certain stocks, cryptocurrencies, or whatever thing, real estate, etc., that you believe in, if you are being speculative, not well researched, not aware about your market, not aware about your asset class, you are going to face the brunt of it. Yes, Jupiter is in trine, he's sitting in the house of gains, he's going to try and bring in some positivity. But remember, Ketu is also giving an aspect, guys, so it is not an easy one. And Ketu is the one who is sitting with your Lagna Lord in the first half, and in the second half, those complications continue because Ketu will get in conjunction with Venus. We will talk about that in a second. So that is what I wanted to draw your attention towards. Be kind towards your children. If you are a parent watching this video, they will need your support. They will need your support both emotionally as well as from a guidance perspective, from a knowledge perspective. And I think you will have the ability, irrespective of all the problems that you are facing, you will be able to mentor them. Students, please try and work harder. The chestabal of Saturn is going to be increased. You will require effort and more effort, work and rework in terms of grasping things, finding the right focus. Sometimes you might even be confused in terms of what sort of a career path, what sort of a subject, what sort of a course should I be picking. There's a lot of change in terms of dynamics and turbulence coming in from a market standpoint as well. Well, it's hard to navigate. Unfortunately, I don't have an easy outcome here. Now, the good thing that is coming into picture is that your third lord and your 10th lord Venus is going to be coming in the second half in your first house itself. This is where you will be focused towards looking inwards, taking a lot of care of your health. You will be but hyper driven with respect to activities. Second half of the month is going to be where you will either yourself be motivated because it's an enterprising behavior of the third lord into the first house, or you will be forced, given the situations coming in your life, that you will have to work hard. This would also be the period when Sun and Mercury will be transiting. Yes, Mercury will be getting into his house of exaltation. He is the 11th lord as well, getting exalted in your second house. So, from a monetary gains, etc., perspective, it looks good on the face of it. Lagna lord or the first lord has gone into the second house. But when he's going there, he also becomes Nicha Bilashi, or he becomes aspirant towards its debilitation, which is coming in. So his mood also swells down. You have to remember that. And this is also a point where around 21st of September, you will be finding eclipse coming into your second house. Disturbance with respect to gains, disturbances within family, disturbance or health related issues because of food poisoning, food related matters, quarrels, disputes coming in, significant less output in or against what you've anticipated versus your gains. All of that is possible. So, whilst in a normal day of astrology, without that eclipse coming into picture, I would have said that okay, 11th lord is in the second, it is getting exalted. Lagna lord is in the second. You are going to work extraordinarily well to amplify that dhan yoga or whatever. Forget dhan yoga, to fulfill your wishes, goals, and desires. But here, because Saturn's retrogression, Saturn is the biggest enemy of Sun in full strength, sitting in the eighth house. Plus, if you are watching from a Leo moon standpoint, making matters more difficult. So, guys, difficulties are going to increase for at least a 10-15 day period. The second half of September is not going to be easy. It is going to trickle down into October as well. And that is why I cannot emphasize enough that no major deal, no major transformation, no major issues should be propped up. As much as you can lie low during this period, let bygones be bygones. That should be your mindset here. Mars being the fourth lord and your ninth lord coming to the third, it is again promising along with Venus that there will be efforts required and you will be putting in efforts, especially for people who are in job, people who are in any kind of litigations, especially people who are who've taken loans and trying to address it. You will be fighting hard, and because you will be getting an exalted aspect of Mars into your sixth house, so you will leave no stone unturned. I think the good part, the silver lining out of all of this that you have to remember is that you will try and follow a certain discipline, folks. Very important thing, Leos, that you remember this thing. And your chart is promising if you are disciplined, you are putting in the effort. you will at least have your mind, body, and soul be prepared to tackle the problems that are coming your way. So it's not going to be an easy road. It is going to be a difficult road, but this is where you will be strategic about it. Mars will be giving an aspect to your 10th and your ninth house as well. Ninth house aspect is a strong one, so please be watchful in how you are dealing with your superiors, bosses, clients, managers, your gurus, mentors, any astrologer like myself whom you are dealing with. You've got to navigate that cleverly without getting aggressive. But at the same time, they might require you to put in some extra effort. And good part is Mars is giving an aspect to the 10th as well. So you will not, at least in the second half from 13th, 14th of September onwards, you will not leave any stone unturned, putting that effort in your karma, be it your studies, be it your job, your business, your travel, whatnot. So, last bit that I want to call out is, however, whilst you are traveling, whilst you are driving, please be cautious of what you are doing here, because Mars is 12th to itself as well. So, it could bring certain risks of accidents, any kind of collision, etc., happening as well, which should necessarily be avoided. All in all, September, Leos, it is not just a difficult month for you, it is a difficult month for everybody. What I have given is a very specific analysis that if you plan it better, trust me, you guys will be able to navigate it much better. And that is all I'm trying to do in the month of the September reading. If you feel that the effort is genuine, worthwhile, I request you to please smash on that like button, subscribe to the Astrology, and keep watching.